Hi guys, this week we are reading a book about rescue vehicles and it's called Fire Trucks by Valerie Bodden. And we are still working on our nonfiction books, and one of the indicators that this is nonfiction is it's a photograph. But as we learned from one of our books this week, Chameleons Are Cool, not all nonfiction books are photographs. Sometimes they're illustrations, so it just depends on the type. So that's not always your best tip. Another good tip is a simple title. So Fire Trucks, it's not anything fancy. It's not the magical fire truck of Kansas City or anything like that. It's just straight up fire trucks. All right, now we've talked about text features in our nonfiction books before, and one of those text features is this magical thing right here called our table of contents. And our table of contents, as you know, is something that we can use to guide us to the parts of the book we are really interested in. So, for example, if you're really interested in the history of fire trucks and you want to know about early fire trucks, the ones that are like old-fashioned, you would turn to page 20. All right, let's read this whole lovely thing about fire trucks. I am so curious. Sometimes people need help. They might get hurt or they might get lost. When people need help putting out a fire truck might come to help them. As you can see right here, it's zipping down the street to get to the fire quickly, and I know you've seen one on the street before. I know you've heard them for sure. They make that really loud sound, don't they? A fire truck is an emergency vehicle. It is used to put out fires. Even though fire trucks are big, they can go very fast. And the drivers of fire trucks are very, very safe, even though they drive fast. Oh wow, look at the history of this one. Look at this old-fashioned fire, bucket on wheels. Here's a stamp of an old-fashioned fire truck from Australia. That's really cool too. It looks like it's got big wheels. It's pulled by horses. The first fire trucks were used about 400 years ago. They were tanks of water pulled by people or horses. About 100 years ago, people built the first fire trucks with motors. All right, so about the time that cars were invented, fire trucks got engines just like our cars. Today, most fire trucks are red, yellow, or green. They have flashing lights and loud sirens. The lights and sirens warn other drivers to move out of the way. All right, so right here, this is a feature you see in nonfiction if you have a word that you might not know how to pronounce, okay? And so right here, it's showing you what's called the phonetic way to sound out this word. So it's saying sigh runs, and that's how you say sirens, okay? So it's showing you that phonetic. And so when you see something in the parentheses like this, and it's written in italics, that's another nonfiction text feature. All right, the reason they make fire trucks bright colors is the same reason they make school buses bright colors, so that people can see them on the roads, because that's super important. When we see one, we have to get out of the way. Different kinds of trucks carry different things. Ladder trucks have a tall ladder attached to the top. Pumper trucks have pumps for spraying water. Tanker trucks have huge tanks filled with water. Many fire trucks today carry ladders on top, and then the hoses are on the inside. Doesn't that look like a bookcase? Look at that, but those are hoses all folded up. One of the things that firefighters have to do is take the time to fold up all of their hoses after they're finished, so that the next time they have to use it, they can just pull them right out and they're not tangled, because that would be bad. When there is a fire, an alarm goes off at the fire station. The firefighters put on their protective clothes and jump into the fire trucks. One firefighter drives each truck. Other firefighters sit next to or behind the driver. A dispatcher tells the firefighters where to go. Now you can see some words that are highlighted in red, and I'll bet you when we get to the end, they're going to be in the what? Yeah, the glossary. We've learned about the glossary, haven't we? They practice getting their gear on really, really fast. In fact, a lot of firemen can say they can do it in under a minute. They practice putting it on fast. When the fire trucks get to the fire, some firefighters hook up the hoses. They can hook up the hoses to a fire hydrant or to a tank on the pumper or tanker truck. The firefighters begin spraying water on the fire. All right, now you can see she's got her safety gloves on and she's got a big helmet. And I know when the firefighters come to our schools and visit us, they always tell us to not be afraid of how they look when they're dressed in their gear, and sometimes it can be scary. So if you ever have something happen at your home where there's a fire and you see someone in this outfit, no, it's not really an outfit, it's their gear, but don't be afraid. They're there to help you, okay? Even though they look like they're wearing a lot of stuff. All right, some firefighters climb ladders to put out fires in tall buildings. They can rescue people trapped in buildings too. Firefighters wear air masks to help them breathe inside the burning buildings. Because when there's fire, there's lots of smoke, and you can't breathe smoke or it can really hurt you. All right, they're gonna help those people, aren't they? I'm so glad we have firefighters, aren't you? All right, after the fire is out, the firefighters drive the fire trucks back to the station. They wash the trucks and check their gear. They make sure the fire trucks are ready for the next emergency. I bet you've never seen a dirty fire truck. I know I never have. They take good care of their fire trucks. In fact, there's a fire station right near my house, and I see them cleaning them all the time. They always look beautiful and ready to go. All right, so do you remember when I said you could turn to page 20 to find out interesting facts about old fire trucks? Well, look where we are. We're on page 20. Now, I want to tell you something about page numbers. They're not always at the bottom. Sometimes they're at the top, sometimes they're on the side. So sometimes you have to look for these page numbers because they might be in a random spot. And in this book, they're over here on the sides of the pages. All right, early fire trucks. The first fire trucks were just big tanks of water. People had to pump the water by hand to get it out of the tank, and then people made pumps that were powered by steam. These pumps worked faster. They were more powerful too. They could spray more water out of their hoses. Look at all the firefighters on there. And it used to be a long time ago that only men did this job. But now we know that women can also do this job. That's why we call them firefighters, because it can be a man or a woman. A lot of times people think about the Dalmatian too as part of the fire team. I don't know the reason for that. That'd be something good to look up. That would be a fun fact to do research on, wouldn't it? Look at these kids sitting in this old-fashioned fire truck. They look like they're having fun. Maybe they took a visit to the fire station. All right, oh, yep, here we go. Here's our glossary, just like I knew there would be. In our glossary, we have some words. We heard the word dispatcher, emergency, fire hydrant, motors, and protective. And remember, the glossary is like a little mini dictionary that tells us what words mean in case we've not heard them before. Okay, so this is where you can find that information. And always in a nonfiction book, you have this read more. And nowadays, in newer nonfiction books, you'll have things that have websites too, because so much of our information is on a computer. All right, so pretty cool book about firefighters and fire trucks. And our last text feature in our book is called the index. And again, this is where you can go if you're like, I really just want to know about pumper trucks. You look for the word pumper trucks, and you know that on page 10 and page 15, they talk about those. So you can go back to page 10 or page 15 and go, I really don't care about all this other stuff. I just want to know about pumper trucks. And you go to the right page, and there you go. You can read about pumper trucks.